morning guys. So it is Saturday the 30th of September and I'm all dressed and ready. Perry's just getting ready and Layla's in the bedroom with him. So I'm gonna go grab her in a minute, give her breakfast, and then we're gonna finish getting ready and head out. We're going to, there's a Gymboree play area, I don't know what to call it, soft play type place for babies, one block over from us, and I took Layla yesterday for her first Gymboree class and it was really fun. So today they have an open gym session, so we signed up for a monthly membership, and with that you get however many classes and access to all the open gym sessions, and they have them like pretty much every day except Sunday. And so I wanted to go to the Saturday one because it's the only one that Perry's ever going to be able to do with her. So we wanted to go, and so he can sort of like see how it is and stuff. And then in the future, you know, some weeks if he feels like it, he can take Layla on Saturday morning and have a little bit of playtime with her there, and it gives me a little bit of downtime at home as well, which is nice. So so we're going to do that today. You all dressed and ready to go? Yeah. Hey Nugget. Hey Nugget, Mummy's going soon. You can have a Daddy Nugget day. So yeah, it's bright and early this morning. It's probably around 8 AM and I'm heading out to a coffee shop. The one I go to every time I have a design day, as it were. And we're gonna crack on with some stuff. Perry and Layla are having a Daddy Nugget day. And yeah, hopefully this is in focus. I think my glasses are a bit smudged. Layla loves grabbing sunglasses these days. And yeah, anything that's basically not hers she wants to play with. I didn't actually end up filming much yesterday. We didn't get up to too much. After we went to Gymboree, then we sort of just had a nice relaxed day at home. So yeah. Yeah, I don't have all that much to catch you guys up on, but we'll see how today goes. There probably won't be a whole ton of chatter today because I am at a coffee shop, so we will see. Hopefully I'll be able to catch you guys up in the evening once I get home with what I got up to. It's also actually a lot chillier out today than I was expecting, so I feel like I really needed a shawl as well to wrap around my neck. But I'm almost there. Thankfully the coffee shop isn't far from home, so it should be fine. Hey guys, so I'm back home now. I'm actually in our bedroom for once, using the desk, which I rarely ever get to use these days because yeah, it's hard to get in here and be able to use the desk when Layla's awake. Usually the downtime I have is when Layla's napping, so, and she sleeps in our bedroom, which is where my desk is. But yeah, I had a very productive day today actually. It was very good. I got a pattern released. I released the baby socks pattern, so that's now out and available for you guys. It's in my Ravelry shop. So there are 5 different sizes ranging from 0 to 3 months up to 12 to 24 months, or 18 to 24 months, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was 18 to 24 months. And yeah, so the whole range of sizes in there from baby to toddler. And then I've also included with like everything from foot circumference to foot length sort of measurements. And I've also included guidelines and notes on how to measure your child's foot to essentially customize the sock fit to fit the way you would want it to for your child, with the idea of like having a little bit of room, extra room in it for growth as well. And yeah, and also using those guidelines, you can then decide to you can use, sorry, I'm hearing Layla in the background, it's very distracting. You can use those guidelines to basically knit socks for your children in any weight of yarn. It doesn't just have to be fingering weight, which is what the pattern is written for, but there's information in how to like measure your gauge and your child's foot, and how to figure out what number of stitches you need to cast on, etc., if you were using a different weight of yarn. So that's also in there. There's also my generic German short row heel pattern, so it's not line by line written out, but it's written out in such a way that you can use it with any stitch count for a sock. So that's also included. And yes, it's a very versatile pattern, and there's also toe up instructions as well as cuff down. So yeah, so I hope that will suit everybody, or as many people as possible. And yeah, so I hope you will enjoy that. I've also draft published a bunch of patterns which will be coming out soon. One is coming out, like, as in you can then purchase it, and there are 3 that are coming out which are part of the Oloops Harry Potter Cal, which I guess the Cal participants, the people who have purchased prefect kits, will already have their patterns, and I'll be publishing and showing you guys the patterns tomorrow. I'm going to wait till daylight to be able to show them to you on the video, and so those will be coming out tomorrow, but they will only just be the pattern pages, so you won't actually be able to purchase the patterns until January 2018, unfortunately. The patterns are exclusive to the Harry Potter knit along, which runs until the end of December, I believe, so they are exclusive to the knit along until the knit along ends. So I will share those patterns with you tomorrow, but you won't be able to purchase them until January, unfortunately. But I want the pattern pages to be up for anyone who is taking part in the knit along and has the pattern already, who wants to maybe link them on their Ravelry pages. So those will be coming out then. And what else did I do today? I did a bunch of other things. I finally wrote up the pattern for that baby dress, which was on my to-do list for quite a while. So that's this one, with the modifications that I wanted to make. So that is now off to my tech editor, and hopefully that will be back soon, and I'll be able to ask for some test knitters for that, and also cast on my version of it as well. I might cast that on tonight. We will see how we go. And then what else did I do? Oh, I also wrote up the stocking pattern, which you guys seem to be very interested in. I posted a picture of that on Instagram to see if people were interested, and it seemed to be an overwhelming response of yes. So that is now with my tech editor, like I said, so hopefully that will also come back soon, and I'll be able to get that out to you guys. I mean, all in all, the baby dress pattern took the majority of the day, because I had to work out the grading for the different sizes. I first had to make all the modifications I wanted to make based on how the first one turned out, and then I had to grade it for different sizes, and then I forgot to take the dress with me to the coffee shop, so I couldn't remember what gauge I'd gotten on the dress that I'd knit up. So when I got home, I had to sit down and work that out, and then finagle the numbers again a little bit. And anyway, it took a while, but we got there. And yeah, Layla did really well today. Perry and Layla had a nice relaxing day at home. The only bit of knitting I've done today is this. I cast this on yesterday. It's the Mix and Match children's sweater. This is in the smaller size, 3 to 6 months with a size, which I'm knitting for my nephew. And this is in the next Knit Picks Stroll Fingering tweed base. And I'm holding it double to get a DK/worsted weight. I'm knitting it on 4mm needles. Sorry about all the lighting glare. Maybe if I do this, that's better. So you can see, and the main colour here is Lost Lakes Heather. And I've just done a contrasting ribbing at the top out of Sequoia Heather. And I've just done the normal ribbing at the top. I didn't do the high back to the neck for this one. Yeah, I didn't get round to working on this sweater design idea, or I have a couple of other sweater designs that I wanted to work on as well, at least work on the numbers, get it all sort of drafted out. Didn't get round to any of that this weekend, which is fine. Next and next week when Perry's parents get here, I'm hoping to have Perry's taking a few days off during the following week when his parents are here. So we've already talked about it, and those days are going to be design days for me. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 days when Perry's parents are here where I'm going to be able to just like get out of the house and work on stuff. And whether or not they go out or stay home or whatever, I'll be able to get stuff done. And that'll be nice. I mean, I'll probably still join them for some parts and some bits and pieces, but it'll be good to be able to have a decent chunk of time to dedicate to working on some pattern ideas. Today's Monday, the 2nd of October. Honestly, it just doesn't feel like we had much of a weekend. I mean, I know we did, but it feels like it went by so fast. I'm still so knackered. Although I think I slept better last night than I have in a while. Which is good. Layla slept well as well, which is good. You can hear her chattering away in the background. She's full of beans this morning. So I've just gotten us up, gotten her changed. Made myself a coffee and got Layla's milk ready. So trying to fold laundry this morning, and I have to say this little chair thing that we've got for Layla is amazing. Even though she can sit unassisted now, it's great for keeping her confined, so she can't just get into everything and like cause havoc or try to jump off the bed, which she seems to want to do all the time. So she's sitting here while I fold all of her laundry, and she's helping out. Also, again, keeps her confined so she can't make a mess. And yeah, I've got her outfit picked out for later, but after I've fed her breakfast, which will be in about 20 minutes, I will be taking her out to have her nap in the stroller whilst I run some errands. Need to go grocery shopping and need to run to the post office, so figure she can have a nap while I do that. And yeah, so just picked out her clothes for later. Yeah, we're feeling the Grello vibe right now, grey yellow thing going on over here. And yeah, so I'm just going to get on with doing her laundry. Heading out to the post office to run some errands. Hopefully at some point Layla will have a nap. Yeah. Ended up pulling her socks over her leggings just because these socks are a little bit big for her because they're at a sport weight. So they were sliding down a bit, so put them over her leggings, they're staying up a lot better. Yeah. Chomping on Sophie. And I'm wearing knitwear as well. Not the most coordinated, I know, but I'm wearing my Marco Polo sweater, and the cowl is the seeded path cowl, which is a recent design of mine that I've released. I was going to grab a shawl, but I forgot, and then as I was running out the door I just grabbed this. It was on the side and at hand. Actually works out pretty well, so I don't have to fuss about it, but It's not the most colour coordinated of what I'm wearing, but it's fine, it'll do. Still trying to get this little one used to feeding herself a little bit, getting some practice in with some biscuits. These are some teething biscuits, so they're nice and hard and good for her to rub against her gums. I forgot to mention actually, poor Hugo there in the background is just popping along to say hi. We had to take him to the vet this weekend. He's not been feeling great. He's not been going. Yeah, you just want all attention on you. I'm going to talk about Hugo for just a second. He wasn't going to the toilet properly, so Harry took him to the vet, and he has a suspected UTI, so he's on medication for that now, and hopefully he'll be all better in a couple of days. He already seems much better than he was before we took him in, so it's good that he's starting to get better. So Hugo's here, and Derek is there. He's basically taking possession of the playing chair. This is pretty much where he spends most of his day. Every day. Right, so Layla's down for a nap. I'm about to have some lunch. It's just veggie stir fry, fried rice type thing, egg fried rice thing, with an epic fail of a fried egg on top. I managed to crack the yolk as I cracked the egg into the pan to fry it. And yeah, so it's now the saddest looking fried egg. So I have that for lunch and a bowl of veggies. So hopefully Layla will sleep and I'll get to enjoy my food, watch a podcast or two, catch up on some stuff, maybe even knit a little bit, you know, push the boat out. I also have a few bills I need to pay, so fun times. Alright, so while Layla is still having her lunch nap, it's coming up towards the last 15 minutes or so, I thought I would run you through really quickly what I've been working on. And as you can see, it's been socks, and baby sweaters. So this one I showed you guys yesterday is the baby mix and match sweater that I'm knitting for my nephew in the 3 to 6 month size. I'm using Knit Picks Stroll Tweed fingering held double, and this main colour here is Lost Lakes Heather. Lighting's a little bit yellow because I've got artificial lights, and then I've done the neckband ribbing in Sequoia Heather, which is a darker green. Then I've been using some of the leftovers to make baby socks, using my baby socks pattern for him as well. So there's a pair out of the Sequoia Heather, and I've just folded the cuffs down. You don't obviously have to do that, but that's what it looks like unfolded and folded. And then I started this pair last night. This is out of Garnet Heather, if that will focus. And I did this one sock last night, and second sock I just started when Layla went down for her nap. The only reason this isn't finished is because I spent over half an hour on the phone trying to pay bills, so that was fun. But yeah, so I've got that to finish up, just waiting. Next thing I need to do on that is the heel now. And the only other thing I've been working on was this pair of socks, which when I showed it on the podcast was one cuff done and the other cuff was only halfway done. So all I did was finish the second cuff, pop it on the needle, and I've knit 2 rounds I think on the actual sock. This is just, I'm keeping this as vanilla sock knitting. I believe when Perry's parents are here we're planning on going to the cinema at least one time whilst they're here, so yeah, so that's keeping that for then. And yeah, and the project bags, this one was sent by a viewer of the podcast. I can't remember if they have an Etsy shop or not. I can't remember who sent this now. There's no tag on the actual bag, so I can't remember if this was sent by someone who has an Etsy shop or not. If you did send me this bag and you have an Etsy shop, please let me know so I can link it and let people know. I can't remember, I'm so sorry. And this one is, I think most of you will recognise by now, but this is a Mrs. Brown's bag. And yeah, so that's basically my knitting status of what's been going on with me the last couple of days. Doesn't feel like a whole ton for me, but I've been in a very sort of monogamous-ish mood, I guess. I kind of only really have one main thing on the needles. The socks kind of get done pretty much as soon as I start them, and that pair of socks, like I said, is just for, at the moment, it's just some vanilla knitting for on the go and stuff. So once Layla wakes up, I'm gonna bundle her up, get her back into the stroller, and we're gonna head to Gymboree. Morning guys, so today is Tuesday the 3rd of October and you can hear Layla in the background. It's still quite early in the morning, it's just gone 8:30 and I've had my coffee. Layla's had her milk, she's having a little bit of a play on the floor. I'm knitting another pair of vanilla socks. I just started them. I started these last night actually, so I've got one cuff done. Just working on the second cuff, about halfway through. Hoping to get that to the point where I can get them both on the same needles and put them aside. Hugo is right here next to me hanging out, and little madam is down here. Yeah, she's definitely on the move. She was over there and then made her way over here. Yeah. Gently, okay? No. Good job, honey. Oh, oh, don't slap, don't slap. Oh. You just want to play with some cables. Hugo happens to be in your way. Oh, be careful, Layla. Don't grab at him. Oh, Layla. You chew Mummy's headphones. That's fine. You guys like, I've had enough of this. Alright, so we are about half an hour away from waking up Layla. I thought I would check in with you guys. It's been about an hour and a half into her lunch nap, and so I've gotten a bit of knitting done, had some food, and just catching up with a few podcasts and stuff. Living room's a bit of a mess, but that's fine. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, today's been a pretty good day as far as Layla goes, and with her eating and stuff like that's been fine. But I just feel really burnt out. I feel really tired. Not like physically tired, like I don't feel physically tired, I just feel very tired. I don't know if anyone understands what I mean by that, but I hope it's not too ambiguous. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, I thought I'd just go over what I've been knitting so far this week, or since our last podcast. I don't know, I'm looking at it now, and obviously I've knit quite a bit, but it doesn't really feel like I've done much at all, which just sounds really strange. I don't know. Anyway, so I showed you guys this yesterday. Was it yesterday or Sunday? I don't know. Basically, I was working on this and I've split for the sleeves, and I've just literally today I've only added like an extra 4 rows to this right now. So this is the Mix and Match child sweater, which is one of my patterns, and this is in the smallest size, 3 to 6 months size, for my nephew. I'm using Knit Picks Stroll Tweed held double. It's fingering weight held double to get like a DK/worsted weight. I'm using 4mm needles. I'm doing the texture pattern, and I've done the regular neck. I'm planning on doing the high-low hem option and long sleeves. So I had originally planned on doing the sleeves in stockinette and the body in texture pattern, but when I cast on I just obviously wasn't thinking and just went with it. I'm not going to write back, so that's what's gonna happen there. I'm about, I'd say, like an 1.5-inch into the body. I can't remember how long I have to knit the body for. I'll double check the pattern. But yeah, so that's coming along. I showed you these socks, which I'd cast on. These were partly cast on. I mean, one cuff was finished and the other was partly done by my podcast, so that was finished. I think I did show you this, but just in case I hadn't. Last night I cast on the first cuff for this pair of socks, another pair of vanilla gift socks, and I finished the second cuff this morning. Actually, I finished the first cuff and did the second cuff this morning. This is actually knit out of Hedgehog Fibers. This is their twist sock base. It's their BFL nylon, and this was I believe this was a club colorway called Creature. I'm not entirely sure. This was a gift from a lovely friend. If that'll focus, there we go. This was, so I don't know if you, I don't think you can purchase this colorway, I'm afraid, but it'll be a gift pair of socks. And this one, just tell you guys again, this is Crit Yum handmade on her Rosanna sock base in the, I think it's Satrangi colorway. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's a lovely sort of like green grey base with speckles of all the colours. And finally today I cast on and started another pair of socks for Perry. This one I'm knitting concurrently because I'll probably do a pattern on this one, and lately I've been finding with pattern socks it's just easier with Layla around to do them concurrently. So that's what these will be. These will probably be his Christmas socks. And the yarn for this is actually yarn that came in a Knit Crate box a couple months ago. It's Artisan Yarns, is there alpaca sock? Very fancy right there. Is there alpaca sock in the Boo Berry colorway? So it'll be interesting. I haven't knit Perry any alpaca socks, but he liked the colour, so that'll be interesting. It's also going to be the second pair of socks that I've knit him that are hand wash only, so it should be fine. It should be fine. He's usually pretty good with his socks, and once I tell him a couple of times which one's a hand wash only, like I said, he's only got one at the moment, he remembers to just like leave them in the bathroom and I wash them for him if he doesn't have time to do it. So yeah, that's basically what I've been knitting on, just a lot of ribbing right now, and then a baby sweater. I also was working on a pair of baby socks, one-handed zippering up and such. I finished those, so I was knitting it out of the Garnet Heather, blah blah blah. I don't know what is wrong with me today. I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling life right now. Just feel like I need a week off or something. So I finished this pair of baby socks for my nephew. I knit these ones slightly longer in the leg than I did the first pair. So there's 2 pairs down for the little one. I'm planning on doing at least 3 pairs for him. And I think the next one will be out of the cream, like the Oyster Heather colorway. And then once I finish the sweater, because I'm planning on doing contrasting colours for all the cuffs and the hem, so I'll see what I have left once I finish the sweater. There's still like a ton of yarn left in here. There's like a ridiculous amount of yarn. So I've knit so many things with this yarn now. I'm not sure what else I can do with it. I don't know, I might knit up a couple of washcloths or crochet a couple of washcloths or something out of the leftovers, because genuinely I don't know what else to do. I've knit him a hat. This will be the second sweater I've knit him. I've knit him a blanket, and I've knit him at least 3 pairs of socks as well to go with it all. I don't know what else to do. Maybe another hat. Yeah, I might do another hat as well, to round it all out. But we will see. See what I end up doing. But yeah, that's a bit about it. I think the other thing as well is I'd been hoping to have a bit more of a break that week that my parents were here. I'd been hoping to have a little bit more of like a restful week, I guess, with having them around to help out more with Layla. I don't know why she's just woken up. But she didn't actually wake up. She just lifted her head up and screamed and put it back down again. Not sure what that's about. I guess I'd hoped to have had a bit more of a bit more help with Layla, I guess, that week, but the problem was we were both sick. Layla was quite ill at the beginning of the week, and I was very ill towards the end of the week that my parents were here, so I guess I didn't get to have as much of a break as I'd planned on having, and as such I don't really feel, and if anything I just ended up being more tired by the end of it because I was so ill. So I don't really feel like I got much of a rest, if that makes any sense. So I'm hopeful that this next week, when Perry's parents are here, it'll be slightly more, or slightly less tiring for me, especially because Perry's going to have a few days off while his parents are around to basically hang out with them, and those days that he is off from work, he's going to be like main caretaker for Layla, and I'm going to have those days to do some stuff that I need to get done. I'm hoping that'll be a good sort of refresh type situation that I need. It is hard being somewhere where you're far from family and you don't have a ton of help in the same way as we don't have as much help as we would have had if we were back home, and that is definitely a downside to being far from home, I guess. But can't really complain all too much. She's a pretty good kid in the grand scheme of things. She's very happy most of the time, doesn't really cry very often. Usually it's more out of frustration or just trying to tell me she's had enough of something, rather than like genuine tears. Like, she doesn't really cry tears at all, very rarely. I can't even remember the last time she cried genuine tears. So yeah, she's pretty, I think the last time she cried genuine tears was when I took her for her 6-month jabs, and that was about a month ago. So and that's totally understandable as well. You know, even if she falls over or bumps her head or something, like, it's not really tears, it's just like she's crying because of the shock, and obviously it hurt a little bit, but yeah, she's very, very good. So I don't know, just gone off on a bit of a rant. Not really a rant, but just gone off on a tangent there. Just, yeah, like I said, feeling a bit tired. I have a few designs I want to get started on, and I've been meaning to show you those Harry Potter patterns that I still haven't published on Ravelry yet. There's a set of patterns, and then another hat that I've also designed out of different yarn, not O-Loops yarn, but it reminded me of another Harry Potter type situation, so I've given it a Harry Potter name as well. So I kind of felt I'll release all 4 patterns at the same time, but the hat, or the separate hat, is the only one that you'll be able to purchase right now. Like I mentioned before, the O-Loops Harry Potter patterns are exclusive to the knit along until the knit along ends, which ends at the end of this year. So in January those will be available for individual purchase, but the pattern pages will be up. And actually, you know what, I'll go get them and show them to you now. Okay, so this is the set of patterns that I came up with for the Harry Potter knit along run by O-Loops, and this is all out of O-Loops yarn. This one, and so the hat and the cowl are knit out of the Perfection Knot base. I believe that's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. The hat is
it's fingering weight, and the hat is knit using the fingering weight held double. And then the sock is out of the Buckman base, I think that's how it's said. And this is a BFL nylon blend. This really lovely sort of tonal green colour. This is the Mr. Rumpel colourway, I believe, if I'm remembering this all correctly. And this is the Herbology socks, because the pattern reminds me of plants, and I thought that was rather fitting for Harry Potter, Herbology. And the colourway as well, sort of went with that. The pink colourway was called Star-Crossed Lovers, I believe. And I'm just doing all this from memory, so apologies if I get some of the colours wrong. And the hat is called Amortentia, which is the name of the love potion in Harry Potter. And yeah, and I really love the little cables in here, the little X's, like little kisses. Again, I thought that was very fitting and in keeping with the theme. And yeah, and I did my, what is my now signature folded brim. You can see that it looks very neat, sort of seam on the inside, and it's got a nice little squishy garter rib. And the cowl, if I move these two out of the way, you can see, and this is the Hogwarts Express cowl, and the colourway I believe is called Stormy Skies or Stormy Day, something along those lines. I really can't remember. And yeah, the pattern on here, if I show you up close, it kind of reminds me of like the smokestacks coming out of the top of a steam train. So that was the plan behind that. I think this is actually upside down. There we go, that's better. The little smokestacks coming up from a steam train. And yeah, again, this is fingering weight, and it's a long cowl, as in it's quite a wide depth cowl, but this sort of like, it's nice and scrunched up around the neck, but it's not too tight around the neck. It's perfect for this sort of transitional weather where you want a little something around your neck, but you know, it doesn't have to be super warm or super like close around the neck to keep like too much wind out, but just a little bit of extra coverage. And yeah, this was a really fun knit, and actually knit up very quickly. So yeah, very easily memorizable as well. So that's that set. And then the other hat that I had to show you is this one. It's another cabled hat pattern, and this one is called the Chamber of Secrets. So the colourway is actually by Little Bean Loves Yarn, the lovely Kayleen, and she sent me this a while back now, and the colourway is called Slytherin's Common Room. So it's very reminiscent of sort of Slytherin-y colours. And what else? So it's also on her worsted base. And so this is the pattern that's going to be available now. And I'm not sure how clear you'll be able to see it on here, but there are two different types of cables running through on the hat. So it would be more clear, obviously, on a more tonal colourway. Here, so if I pull it back, you can see a bit better, rather than such a variegated. But it actually does work quite nicely on a variegated as well. So I actually knit a version of this hat way back when, in January, during Vogue Knitting Live, out of a Malabrigo sock yarn held double. But I've actually sent that off to my brother. My brother has that hat. I knit it as like a men's hat, so it's slightly, it wasn't as, it was slightly shorter, a more fitted beanie for a man, basically. And I sent it off to him, and he loves it, he wears it. And again, with the folded brim. This is a regular 2x2 rib. I really like how a 2x2 rib looks. Yeah, so this one will be out soon as well. So I think I will probably publish all of these today, whilst I still have a bit of time before Layla wakes up. And like I said, this one will be available for purchase now, and the rest will be available in January. months ago, that nugget was over here. Now she's over there. Having a grand old time stuck on the floor. Guys, me again. Today's been a bit like of an, I don't even know what to call it. It's just been one of those days. I've not even changed out of my PJs. Like I said, just one of those days. I had wanted to go out today. I'd planned on taking Layla back to Gymboree again, but like I said earlier, I just wasn't feeling particularly great today, and I feel quite bad about not taking her out, at least to the park or something, because the weather was so nice today. But definitely planning on going out with her tomorrow, so that should be nice. And yeah, so Perry's just gone to put her down. We've actually already had our dinner. We usually have dinner after Layla's gone down to bed, but Perry got home early, so he was able to feed Layla her dinner whilst I got dinner ready for us. And we got to eat whilst Layla was playing, and now he's gone to put her down. And I'm just working on another pair of baby socks for my nephew. This will be the last. I think I'm only going to do 3 pairs of baby socks for him, because babies do grow quite quickly, and kind of feel like 3 is a good number. What else? That's literally all I've done knitting wise since I last spoke to you. Since I last checked in, I mean. I don't know what's up with me right now, to be honest. I'm just feeling, it's not even that I don't want to knit, I do want to knit. I just feel really meh. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Just feeling very meh about everything right now. And there's no real reason to feel this way. I don't really understand it. Layla's really keeping me on my toes these days, because she is on the move, as you'll have seen in the video. Alright, so I guess I will chat to you guys tomorrow. Morning guys. So today is Wednesday, the 4th of October now, and oh geez, lighting's gone totally weird. Alright, that's better. So yeah, today's Wednesday, the 4th of October, and I'm up, I'm dressed, I'm not in pyjamas today, and Layla is up, she's fed. Yeah, you've had your breakfast? Uh-huh. What are we gonna do today, honey? What are we doing today? Today we are gonna go meet Perry for lunch. He's working out of the Manhattan office today, so his office is close to Bryant Park. So we're gonna head down to Bryant Park, and we're gonna have a picnic with Perry for lunch today, which will be nice. Yeah. Are you proud of yourself? Seriously, those legs just do not stop kicking. She's like constantly kicking those legs. Yeah. You want to tell us what you're thinking? I've just got the stroller and everything packed up. Excuse the mess. Life with a baby. Got the stroller all packed up. Got a couple of blankets under there to throw on the floor in case we find a nice patch of grass to sit on. I mean, I know there's a big patch of grass in Bryant Park to sit on. It just depends how sunny it is and if we can get a spot in the shade, because I don't really want to be sat in direct sunlight. Even though it's not that hot, I just don't want to be sat in direct sunlight with Layla, so, or even just in general for myself. Oh jeez. So yeah. Ready to go? Yeah. Oh, a little nugget. us all set up here for a picnic. Perry's coming out to meet us now. Layla's heading out. I've grabbed some lunch. And yeah, it's not a bad spot. Managed to find a patch on the grass which is in some shade, which is nice. Although actually it's a bit cooler in the shade than in the sun, but I'd rather that than having Layla with sun in her eyes too much. There's the New York Public Library behind us. So yeah. So it's a little bit windier than I'd anticipated it would be. Yeah. So I've got Layla wrapped up in a little blanket. Just make sure she doesn't get cold. I forgot to bring her some socks, which error on my part. But yeah, I have to say the grass is a little bit damp, so we're probably going to have a little bit of a wet bum when we're done, but that's okay. No, no. She has figured out those grass. Oh. What are we going to do with you, eh? Home again. So that was really nice. It was really nice to get to catch up with Perry for lunch, or an early lunch, and take Layla as well before, you know, I think when we first moved to New York and before we knew exactly where Perry was going to be working, we assumed he was going to be at least part of the time based out of the New York office, if not necessarily full time. I thought it'd be really nice for us to be able to like catch up over lunch, and bring Layla down, and like for us to meet up for lunch and stuff. And then he was based primarily basically 100% of the time out of the client office on Long Island, so that just wasn't possible. And lately he's been able to work out of the New York office more regularly, or at least more you know, at least 1 or 2 days a week. And so we decided that today we would, since the weather was really nice, we would go have a picnic at Bryant Park and have lunch together, albeit an early lunch like I said. And yes, that was really nice. He actually managed to take a slightly longer lunch. He came and joined us around 11:15 and left at 12, so that was really nice to have that hour with him. And so yeah, so we had an early lunch, and I also fed Layla at the park, both her milk feed and her food, and she ate pretty well considering how distracting the place was. So she didn't eat as well as she does at home, but that's to be expected and not an issue. But the panic, well, not the panic really, but the aim that I had was to be home before 1 o'clock so that Layla could go down for her 2-hour nap at home. Otherwise, because she never sleeps 2 hours in the stroller, and she ends up having 2 broken naps, like half an hour each, and she ends up being quite tired by the evening because she hasn't slept long enough during the day. But which isn't a problem, and I don't mind doing that on days like if we're gonna have a day out or whatever, or if we're traveling and stuff like that. It's fine, we make it work. But if I can avoid doing it, I do. And I just got home in time. She was getting very sleepy in the stroller as we were getting home. I got out the subway station near our home, which is only 2 blocks over, at around 1:45, and she had very tired eyes, very sort of droopy, sleepy eyes. Actually, even before, when we were getting on the subway at Times Square, she was getting very sleepy already, so I had to take her out of the stroller on the subway to kind of like keep her awake. And then very stressful walk home, trying to keep her awake and not let her fall asleep before we get in, because I knew I also had to change her nappy. So it wasn't even like I could even attempt at transferring her from the stroller to her bed if she fell asleep, which isn't something I've ever managed to do successfully. She always seems to wake up when we walk into the apartment or not long after. So that's never been something I've been able to do successfully. So I just didn't want her to fall asleep. And plus, like I said, I had to change her nappy anyway, so she would have woken up because of that. So I made it. She was starting to fall asleep, but I managed to keep her awake, and she was very sleepy. Changed her nappy very quickly and popped her down, and she was asleep within a minute. So yes, I'm just gonna sit back, relax, do some knitting and catch up on a podcast or two and just take a breather. So let's just say nap time didn't go great. She only slept for 35 minutes. Anyway, not a big deal. I've finally been able to, I shouldn't have stressed so much about getting home on time. I should have just let her sleep in the stroller and she would have slept the same amount of time. Doesn't matter. For the last few days she's been sleeping the 2 hours at home, so that's kind of why I wanted to try and get here if I could. But I finished the body of the sweater. So it's the mix and match sweater for my nephew. I actually ended up just doing the plain ribbing. I was going to do the high-low hem, and I ended up just doing the plain one because I wasn't going to have enough of the contrasting yarn to do the high-low, but I knit it a little bit longer than I would have planned. And I put in a lifeline just in case I was going to have to rip out if I didn't have enough of the colour. But little Miss Layla is off. She's off on a little adventure. You hungry? What's up, Derek? You hungry? You angry no one's feeding you yet? Hey, buddy? Hey, Derek? So, if you remember correctly, I said that this will be like a fun little collaboration coming up when I was talking on my last podcast. I don't know if you guys recall that or not. But anyway, I think this is the package I've been waiting for. So I'm going to open it up and show you guys. And yeah, let's have a look. What was in the package was 8 skeins of Into the World in their Dresden DK base in the mildly amusing colourway, and it's, oh no, not Dresden DK, sorry, it's Pakoku DK. Sorry, I've been saying that completely wrong. For some reason I've been getting it mixed up with a different base, but it's a lovely squishy superwash merino DK base in their mildly amusing colourway Kettle Dyed. And if you remember on the last podcast, I'd finished the adult version of the mix and match hat out of this colourway, although it's a different dye lot, and this dye lot is much brighter than the dye lot I bought at Vogue Knitting Live, which is fine because I absolutely love the colours, and having them be a little bit brighter and more distinct is also incredibly beautiful. Yeah, so they kindly, because I love the colourway so much, I contacted them to see if they would be interested in working together on a project, or on a pattern basically, and they said of course they would love to. And yeah, so this, if you hadn't guessed already, is going to be turned into the adult version of the mix and match sweater. I have a couple of ideas on some changes I'm going to make to the adult version compared to the child version, but it's essentially going to be the same concept of having a few different options for like the neck and the body and the sleeves and the bottom ribbing, etc. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this is gonna turn out. It's so squishy. I also just realised I hadn't shown you the socks yet. I finished them last night, so I finished this is the last pair I was working on. I finished last night, and these take up such a small amount of yarn, it's unreal. So this was the first pair I did, and this took about 12 grams. I felt like the leg was just a tiny bit short compared to the foot. For me, I think I just sort of misjudged how long I wanted the leg to be. So for the other two pairs, I just added a few extra rows in the leg, and these took 13 grams each. So all in all, 3 pairs took 38 grams, so less than half a skein total for 3 pairs of baby socks. Probably if I'd knit one more slightly shorter pair like this one, I could get 4 full pairs of baby socks out of a 50 gram skein of Knit Picks Stroll. This is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop there for the baby socks, to be honest, because honestly, Layla never wore any baby socks. She wore like maybe 1 pair of baby socks that I knit her a handful of times. But I mean, in fairness, my nephew's going to be born at the beginning of winter. Layla was born at the tail end of winter, and Layla was also a very warm baby. Like, she wasn't particularly cold. But also I found, like, as a baby, as a newborn anyway, she pretty much lived in sleep suits, and so her feet were generally covered, or she was in the stroller where I had a blanket over her, so she didn't really need socks, to be honest. So these are more just for fun, slash, you know, if she wants to put little woolen socks on him, she can. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make any more pairs, but I think 3's enough, and got 1 in each colour from the set, so that's really cute. So that's something else to be added into the pile of baby knits. I've got a little bag that I've put together where I'm popping everything in, so I'll show you once I've got everything done and in the bag to show you everything that I've made for the little guy. Good morning, guys. Today is Thursday, I believe, Thursday the 5th of October, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, Thursday 5th of October. Yeah. So yeah, my blocking mats are working well as a little play mat for Layla. And yeah, so, oh geez, so I've got the lamp on over here, so the lighting is a bit yellow. But last night, I think I showed you when I finished the hem on the bottom here, and then last night I did 1 sleeve on the mix and match sweater. It looks a little bit long compared to the body, but that's fine. I'm gonna roll it up if it's too big, or too long rather. And yeah, and I used a different green for the contrast. I used a different green, so a slightly lighter one. So there were 3 greens in this set from Knit Picks, and I used the 3rd green for that. And this morning I picked up the stitches, and I'm part way down the sleeve now. This is what I've been doing since Layla's been playing. And yeah, so I'm hopefully get this finished today. I've already woven in all the ends in the body. I did that yesterday, and the first sleeve. So I just have the ends from the 2nd sleeve to do, and then it can have a little bath and it'll be ready. And then I think I still have a ton of leftovers from this yarn. It's ridiculous how much I've been able to knit from these skeins. So I will probably do 1 more hat for the baby, and then that will probably be it. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with whatever's left. Okay, so the sweater is now finished. You can see the colour a bit better now. So I used the slightly lighter green on the cuffs of the sleeves, and then the darker green on the neckband and hem ribbing. So yeah, all done. I finished this off while Layla was having her nap. the sweater is now soaking, and just to prove my point, this is how much yarn I still have left over. So yeah, I could probably get another 2 hats out of all of this stuff, but we will see where we end up going with this, because to be honest, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do like a red themed hat and then a green themed hat and leave it like that. I don't know. I'm not sure what else I can make out of this, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a mostly red hat, I think. And what I'll do is I'll also do them as worsted weight hats. I'll hold the yarn double, that way I'll use up more yarn as well. There's only a tiny amount of this green left. You can hear Layla in the background. And so that's the Sequoia Heather. This was Forest Heather, Lost Lakes Heather, which I just used for the sweater, Oyster Heather, Garnet Heather, and Firecracker Heather, other colorways. So I've popped Nugget down there for now. Let's see how far she goes. Hey Layla. Derek is camped out on the Poang chair, which is his current favourite. His favourite napping spot. So I haven't actually shown you my Road to Rhinebeck shawl, but I will do that properly in a bit. This is my original sample. There are actually 3, I'm not saying major, but 3 main changes from this version compared to the version that went up in the final pattern, and I'll talk you through them and the reasons why I did that in a bit once I get back to this. But right now, what I need to do, she's already off. Oh no, maybe not. What I need to do right now is take some photos. I am taking some photos, laid it all out. Need to take some photos of the Christmas stocking. So the pattern's all written up. I've made the modifications based on my tech editor's comments, and I've just got to take some photos for the pattern, so then I can finalize it, get my tech editor to do a final check, and then I can publish it. So you can see, like I said before, if I'd had a slightly larger needle size in my higher set, I would have gone up a needle size for the colourwork section, because you can see it's a little bit tighter than the rest of the stocking. But I think after a couple of years of use, it's not going to be all that obvious. So I thought it would be really fun to use this crochet blanket that was mine when I was a baby. This is a blanket that one of my aunts made for me. It's actually made by the same aunt who made me the baby dress, which I am reverse engineering for a pattern. But I thought it would be really fun to use that as a backdrop for taking photos of the stocking. The Road to Rhinebeck shawl with you guys. So as you can see, over here, it's quite big. And then you've got the same again going down the other side. It's a 2-colour DK weight shawl, which you could obviously also knit in a single colour, or more colours, I guess, if you wanted. I'm sorry about the noise. But it starts off with a simple sort of garter section, and you've got a transition. Then we've got this lovely sort of slip stitch, sort of yarn over texture. Sorry, it's not a slip stitch, it's a yarn over sort of pass over texture. We've got another transition, then we have these garter chevron section, another transition, and then this is my favourite part of the whole thing. This is what gave it the name, the Road to Rhinebeck, because it reminds me of like crossroads. I was using these twisted raised stitches, which is just so fun, really, really interesting technique. And then finished off with a garter border and I-cord. So that's the design. I actually started this. My due date with Layla was like the 19th, I think, of February it was. Either way, it was a Friday in February. No, I think it was the 17th. Anyway, I started this that weekend. I'd gone into the hospital the day before on the Thursday to get checked because my my doctor had sent me in for some extra tests because she thought that they might need to induce me early, or on time essentially. And yeah, anyway, they sent me home, and over that weekend, so from the Friday onwards, I was just waiting for Layla to show up, and she was eventually born on the Wednesday, but I knit the majority of this shawl over that weekend whilst waiting for Layla to show up. And I actually knit this final section after she was born, so in those early sort of newborn days. I had this shawl finished 3 weeks after she was born because I took it to show Kelsey of Primrose Yarn Company. I took it to her trunk show that she had at Brooklyn General, and this is her yarn. So I wanted it to be finished so I could take it with me to show her. So I know I had it finished for that, and Layla was 3 weeks old at the trunk show, so I definitely had it finished by then. So it's not complicated. I've also posted a separate video on how to knit these stitches, which is on my YouTube channel now if you're interested. And yeah, so that's that. It's really, really easy. I mean, I'd say this section is probably the most complicated part of it, but it's not even difficult once you know how to do it. A really, really fun knit. And I didn't overblock mine, so it doesn't look that deep, but it is perfectly squishy, sort of around the neck squish. So the changes that I've made, one of which, there are three, like I said, there are 3 changes, one of which I don't actually remember making, but I don't know, I'm just gonna blame it on like newborn fuzziness. So the first change, the first 2 changes were intentional. So the first change was the I-cord. You can't really see here, but the I-cord edging on this version of the shawl was bound off on the right side, on a right side row, and it's not super obvious, but you almost get a little bit of colour showing through the bit of the orange colour showing through the I-cord. You can see that there, very tiny amount. It's not super obvious at all, but it's not something that you get when you are binding off on the wrong side row. And the second change that I made was I had a final set of so throughout the shawl you increase on the edges, as well as every now and again you have a rapid increase row. So I had one final sort of rapid increase row at the end here, which you can just about tell where that is. But to be honest, I didn't feel like it added anything to the shawl. All it did was it gave you a slightly ruffly edge, and it just increased your stitch count to be closer to 500 stitches, which no one needs, and it's not necessary. Like I said, it did not add anything to the shawl. It didn't make it any better or any, you know, it didn't make it drastically bigger or anything like that. So I omitted that from the final pattern as well. And I know some people don't like doing an I-cord edge or I-cord bind off, or just even having really long rows. So I figured, why go up to close to 500 stitches if you don't need to? And the final change that I made, which must have been some sort of like baby haze type of decision, because I don't recall making it, was these transition sections in this shawl, as you can see, are alternating between garter and stockinette. In the final pattern it's all in garter, which is fine, and it looks great, and I love how it looks on everyone's finished shawls. And actually I think, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it here, but you can see there's a rapid transition row here, sorry, rapid increase row here, and you can tell that by these little blips and holes that you can see. Not super obvious, and it really isn't that obvious when you're wearing it, but I think that may have been why I changed this to be all in garter, so you wouldn't notice those as much. There's one, you can see it there as well. But like I said, you only really notice it if you're really looking for it, and I really like how it looks. So I should probably tell you the colorways that I've used. In the lighter color is Snow Owl, which is probably one of my favorite neutrals that Kelsey dyes. And the orange is Curry Spice, which is a perfect sort of pumpkin-y orange, perfect for the fall. So that'll be one of the shawls that I'll be wearing at Rhinebeck. Let's just ignore the messy head situation going on here, but this is just one way to wear the shawl, sort of bandana style around the front. And like you see in this way, you can actually see all the different texture sections and the transitions, and it lays quite nicely around the neck. What I did with the ends was I tied a little knot, not a hard knot, just to hold it together, and then sort of just tuck the ends up into the bottom of the shawl, and there it stays. this is just one way to wear it. There are plenty of ways. You don't even have to do that. I would do it purely because of Layla, so she doesn't like keep grabbing the ends or pulling it or anything like that. That's probably how I would have it. But I mean, there are plenty. You can leave the ends out. I think that looks fine too. Yeah, there's so many ways to play with it, and the way the shawl is shaped, like it just sits on the neck quite nicely. It curves around the neck quite nicely. You get that nice curve here that doesn't bunch up funny or anything like that, which sometimes can happen with crescent shaped shawls, like they don't lay quite perfectly, especially if you're wearing it in this sort of style. So that's how it looks on. And like I said, I didn't block mine aggressively because I wanted to keep it super squishy and warm and like close around the neck, but it also covers enough that if when you're wearing a coat over it, or if you're wearing this over a coat, it nicely covers up this front of the chest area. You know, that's usually the part of the coat where you may have a bit of your body exposed, or if you have the top of the coat like not zipped up completely or buttoned up, or however it is. And yeah, that's how I would wear it. It's nice and soft and squishy and warm. You may have also caught a glimpse of this shawl, which was hanging out underneath my Rhinebeck shawl, my Rachel Rhinebeck shawl. This was one that I knit earlier this year, or at the end of last year, and it's a new design, but I'm not entirely happy with how it's worked out so far. So for now it's on the back burner, and it's waiting for me to figure out what I'm going to do with it and how I'm going to change it. So stay tuned. This is not quite the final version, and we will see what happens with that. Oh, nice big kitty stretches. Hey, Derek. Layla's being very opinionated right now. She has another Gymboree class tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to taking her to. Finally somewhere I can take her to just use up all this energy that she now has. She woke up less than half an hour into her nap screaming. After half an hour of trying to get her to go back to sleep, and all she wanted to do was scream the house down. My hair is a complete mess. Let's just ignore that. Yeah, so I gave up after half an hour trying to get her to sleep. So now she is hanging out next to me on the sofa. For once she's sort of staying put and not rolling around too much, so I'm just going with it. And before she woke up, I managed to cast on my the vintage inspired baby dress. So this is the dress that I was designing or reverse engineering from a dress that was knit for me when I was a baby. And yeah, so this is the version that will be for the final pattern. The yarn is Little Bean Loves Yarn in a custom red colorway. It is showing up a lot more yellow on screen right now because of the lighting's a bit funny, but it's this really lovely sort of muted burgundy red type of very like nice sort of Christmassy color. And I'm knitting the 6 to 12 month size according to my pattern, so we will see how this turns out. Derek just yawned, that was funny. And yeah, we're just gonna hang out here with Layla. My battery is dying, so I'm gonna have to put this on charge for a bit. But yeah, I'll check back in again soon. Morning guys, it is Friday the 6th of October. Layla and I, yeah? You say hello? You say good morning? Yeah? Layla and I are hanging out on the sofa. She's just had her milk. She's playing with one of my project bags. Actually, it's quite good. I have them all lined up on the back here, and whenever I'm on the sofa, usually she goes and pulls them down and plays with them, and it keeps her distracted for a while, so that's always a positive. Also, absolutely love this little onesie. This is a 9 to 12 month size, which is ridiculous, but this store, it's from the children's place, and I found their clothes run really small, width-wise. Length-wise they're fine, but width-wise they tend to run a bit small, so I always get a size up for her from there, or at least I've learnt to do that now. And I love how the colours on this
pretty much match exactly with the colours we have on this rainbow pillow, which is really adorable. But yeah. Perry's working from home this morning, which is why I'm talking quietly, because he's in our bedroom. And yeah, he's got an interview this morning, so fingers crossed that will go well. He's had quite a few interviews actually over the last few weeks, getting stuff sorted, but fingers crossed something will come out of all of these. And yeah, both of us just really want to know what's happening. Oh, okay, no, that's gonna give everyone headaches. Okay, that's not nice. I also thought I'd really quickly show you, I made quite a bit of progress on the dress for Layla, the vintage inspired dress that I was talking to you guys about. So I cast this on yesterday and I got past the sleeve separation and I did the waistband, and I'm into the skirt texture portion of it, which is really, really fun. And now it should just basically, it's the skirt and then finishing off the sleeves, and then we're done. I'll show you the first version I knit up, which was this one. So I'll be knitting the same size, but my stitch counts will be slightly different, and I've made a few modifications. I was contacted by a lovely viewer recently about trying out some stitch markers and progress keepers that she's been making. So her name's Lisa, and her Etsy shop is The Griff House. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen. If not, I'll try and link it below this video. So she sent me some of her progress keepers that she's made out of polymer clay charms. Out of polymer clay. It's a really cute little cupcake. And there's a little some Halloween ones, a little ghost, a little pumpkin, and a Halloween themed, I assume this is Halloween themed cupcake. And they're quite sizable. They're not like the smallest charms I've ever seen, but I'd say like this cupcake and the ghost and the pumpkin are probably light enough that they would be fine on a project. But I think this cupcake is probably a little bit too heavy to have hanging off of at least off of a delicate project. Maybe off like a worsted weight project it would be fine. If that would focus, that would be great. There we go. That'd be fine, but it's got a bit of like heft to it. But you can always use these as zipper pulls project bags as well, which is probably how I will use the ones that I keep. I'll be using some of these as giveaways. I'll probably do the Halloween ones as like a little set as a giveaway. Those three together. So that would be really cute. Keep knocking them over. There we go. And then she also sent me this little adorable cupcake. And she also sent me some ring markers that she made out of polymer clay. I quite like the little rustic look to them. But they're great, and I really like ring stitch markers. And these are really light. And rainbow colours, so obviously and I like those. And she also sent a little quite big actually charm on a lobster clasp, and this will go on a project bag. I think this is definitely too heavy to go onto a project, but yeah, so thank you so much, Lisa, for sending those across. Hey guys, so just brought Layla to the park. It's been a while since we've actually been to this park, so this is just the one by our house. And yeah, so Perry has his interview, so I wasn't going to be able to put Layla down for a nap at home, and she has Gymboree at 10:30, so which is in less than an hour. So I brought her out. Hopefully she will have a little nap, and then yeah, we'll head on over to Gymboree.
fun in Jamboree. She was nowhere near as shy as she was last week, which was nice. She kept wanting to get in, play with everybody, which is good. Yeah. Head home, have some lunch. Hey guys, so I had a bit of a lunch break. Layla had her nap. Well, we got home from Jamboree, she had her lunch and she went down for a nap, and then I had some lunch and I managed to knit a little bit more on the dress. You can hear her in the background, I'll explain that in a second. But yeah, I've knit a little bit more on that, ready for the next sort of set of increases. I actually knit a couple of rows too far, but that's fine. I'll just adjust in the next section for that. And she woke up again after half an hour, little madam. For some reason she's just refusing to sleep for more than half an hour at a time at the moment, but it's okay. I mean, to be honest, I could do with more of a break, but it's fine. I'm definitely not feeling as crappy as I did at the beginning of the week. Definitely feeling a little bit more, I don't know. I don't even know how I felt at the beginning of the week. It just wasn't feeling particularly great, but feeling less like that now, which is better, I guess. I guess it's also been helped by the fact that Perry's been at home a lot more lately than he is usually. Like, he was working, he managed to work out of the Manhattan office a couple of times this week, which meant he got to get home a lot earlier than usual. And this morning he had his interview from home, so he was home in the morning. And even though Layla and I went out, he helped me out a bit with some of the stuff around the house, which was nice. So yeah, I better go grab her because, like I said, she woke up after half an hour and it's been another half an hour since she woke up. But I keep hoping she's going to go back to sleep, and she has moments, she has like periods of a few minutes where she's quiet and she looks like she's about to fall asleep, and then the crying starts again, and that goes on for like 10 or 20 seconds, and then she calms down, and then it starts again, and then it calms down. So I was just crossing my fingers and hoping she would go back to sleep, but I don't think she is. Guys, so it is now the evening after I last signed off. I fed Layla some milk before I was going to take her out again to try and get her to sleep in the stroller, and she was playing around and stuff, and then Perry actually got home earlier than I expected, so we ended up all going out together to the grocery store, and Layla had another nap. We picked up the bits that we needed, came home, fed her, fed ourselves, and now Layla's having a bath. With Perry, obviously, and not on her own. And yeah, and I thought I would just sign off. I was going to do a review of my knitting and stuff, but to be honest, there's not been a whole ton. The only finished objects I had this week were the little baby sweater, the mix and match sweater that I knit for my nephew, and the 3 pairs of baby socks, which you've already seen. So, and I'm going to show them again on the full podcast, which I will hopefully be filming next Friday. So yeah, so I'm not going to show this again now, and the only works in progress I have are 3 pairs of socks, which I just started the cuffs on, and actually 1 pair of socks, which you will have seen by now. I knit about 10 rows on that during Layla's nap this morning at the park, and you saw the progress on the dress earlier. It hasn't changed since then, so I'll probably spend a bit more time working on the dress this evening. I have some admin-y stuff to do. I need to edit this vlog, which is going to take some time. I'm hoping to get it uploaded tomorrow if I can, or this evening. I'm just looking over to see if there's anything else. That's it. The yarn that came in this week was the yarn support from Into the World. Sorry, I'm tired. And then the stitch markers, well, stitch markers and progress keepers from the Griff House. So I will have both of those shops linked below the video on YouTube. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. There aren't any show notes for these episodes or for these videos, for the vlogs. So if you do have any questions, do let me know. I do cover all of the same sort of knitting content, as it were, in my full podcast episodes in terms of works in progress, finished objects, acquisitions and stuff like that. So the finished objects I finished this week I will show again on the podcast, just for anyone who doesn't watch these. And I realise I never actually mentioned that on a vlog. I've only ever said that on a podcast. So anyway, I'm not sure why that was necessarily relevant. Anyway, so Perry's parents' flight is due to land in about an hour. Layla will be asleep by then, I hope. and yeah, so we'll just catch up with them when they get here and go to bed, I guess. So that's it for now. Feeling pretty tired. Looking forward to seeing Perry's parents and having a nice weekend, hopefully. Alright, take care. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend and week ahead. And to those of you in Canada, happy Thanksgiving. Take care.